What's up, Instagram? How's everybody doing today? Oh, these aren't probably gonna work outside today. Probably should have sunglasses actually. Anyway, how is everybody today? It was raining for the last 2 days. Fred, I think, right? Tropical storm Fred came to visit us here in Tennessee. So it basically has been raining here for the last 2 days. So it's kind of nice, even though it's super, super hot out, to be outside. Because we haven't really been able to do that. It was like a torrential downpour all day yesterday. So that's what's been happening here. I guess you guys are getting it up in New York now, right? I saw weather maybe. Sorry, I'm so squinty, you guys. It's very bright out here. Yeah, so thanks, Fred. Anyway, what's up, everybody? It's Wednesday. It's Wellness Off the Mat. We're going to chat about a new topic this week. First, we'll draw a card. I'm just kind of hanging out, doing that weird, awkward first minute of bullshitting while people hop on live. If anyone does. Let's draw a card. So today I thought we would, let me fix this. So this is a deck I actually picked up in my travels. I'm not really supposed to buy things because I live in my car and I don't have a lot of space. But I went to Lilydale when I was on my little pre-trip adventure kind of test run. And while I was in Lilydale, I went into one of the little stores in town and I just kind of felt like taking a piece of Lilydale with me on the road would be a good idea. just some kind of crazy excuse for me to buy something when I'm not supposed to buy anything. So of course I bought a deck of cards. I bought this deck. It's called Living Reiki Healing Cards. And it was not long after I just completed my Reiki Master. So it just kind of was like this beautiful synergy and seemed really fitting. I also bought a crystal while I was there. Don't tell anybody. It's really small. It's my purse. Again, it was really meaningful and special for the trip. And coming from Lilydale just seemed really important at the time. So yeah, so we're gonna draw from the Living Reiki deck. I was drawing from this deck for the first few classes that I was teaching on the road because it was the only one that wasn't packed up and really far away and hard to get to in a box because I had bought it on the trip in Lilydale. So before we dive into our topic for the day, we will give this little deck here a shuffle and see. You guys can shuffling. Last week I didn't draw the card here, so I want to, you guys got to see this stuff and make sure you trust me. If you know what I'm doing, what I'm saying I'm doing. So we're shuffling our deck here. And I was talking to a friend the other day about reading cards, and I'm still kind of new at reading cards, especially when it comes to tarot, learning the symbolism and stuff. So a lot of times when I read my own cards, I will, kind of look at the cards and see what comes to mind for me, what they spark, the imagery on the card, or if I know it as a symbol or something, what comes to mind, or if it makes me think of something, my own life. So I do that, and then I kind of rely a lot on the books too that comes with the decks and what they kind of say and explain that the cards mean. So it's very often why you don't see me draw tarot cards here. But I was having a general conversation with my friend that I'm staying with here in Tennessee about cards and reading cards, and she'd asked if I would read her cards, and I said sure, but I kind of explained that to her, I'm still learning, so I'm happy to draw cards with you, but I'm gonna pull out the book and we're gonna look at the book, So I kind of lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, you guys. Anyway, I remember where I was going. So, always when we draw a card here, I say, what do we need to know? And I think when it's a big group and it's all of us, that's really the best question that we can ask, what do we need to know collectively? But that's very often the question I ask myself, and this is the conversation we're having. It always comes back. Was that I rarely ask specific questions of the cards because I kind of respect their power and insight, and I also respect that maybe I don't need to know the answer to that question yet, right? Maybe it's not It might be here on the timeline for me, but maybe in the universe it's not on the timeline, right? But I did ask some specific questions lately, and that's what had brought up this conversation, because usually even in my own life, or even if I go get a reading from somebody, very rarely do I have specific questions. I'm always just like, just tell me what, you know, the spirits, the guides, the whoever is chatting today thinks that I need to know, because it might surprise me, right? It might not be what, maybe I have a question in mind, but maybe I don't need to know that right now. It doesn't matter, but there is something that I need to know for like right now that's really important. So that is why we always ask, what do we need to know today? So that was a really long story to explain a really short question. Sorry, guys. All right, let's get to it. Let's draw the cards. Let's see what we have for us today, and then we'll get into our wellness off the mat. So, cards, spirits, guides, whoever's chatting with us. What do we need to know today? Ooh, good one. I think it's backwards for you guys, right? Anyway, it's like some tulips. It says, get spiritually fit. And the card says, we all want to have clarity, inner strength, and a sense of purpose in our lives. But like physical fitness, it can take effort and ongoing commitment. Getting spiritually fit means living authentically, being true to yourself in everything you do in your work, relationships, and leisure time, and making life choices from a place of courage, love, and trust instead of from fear, which is really what living the Reiki way is all about. And that's something I do love about the practice of Reiki is, if you're familiar with it, maybe you've had like a session done or something, so you might only have that understanding of Reiki, that it's something you can go and have, you know, like a healing session done with a Reiki practitioner. But it's really this all-encompassing lifestyle and way to approach the world that's really beautiful. So hence like the living Reiki cards, right? These are all ways to kind of guide us through those principles and philosophies and ways to live our life and approach the world. And that kind of is it's a nice lead into what we're going to talk about today. I feel like I picked a good deck. So yeah, so being spiritually fit, it's big picture, right? And that, oh sorry, I'm shaking the camera, guys. That's how we have to think about like our wellness too, right? We can't just like do one thing, right? There's not like a magic pill or like a superfood. If we all start eating like goji berries, we're not gonna like, you know, be super healthy and everything's gonna be perfect, right? All your problems are gonna be solved. It'd be cool if it worked like that, but it doesn't, in case you didn't realize that yet. Sorry to burst anyone's bubble. So we have to do a lot of work in a lot of different areas in our lives, and a lot of it has to do with our mindset and our habits, our daily practices. So when we think about change and how to approach change, we might have really big concepts in mind, but the way we really are going to get to those really big goals and those really big things are like small, little teeny tiny habits, right? Because it's the stuff we do every single day that becomes the building blocks for those things. So, you know, if you're here and you want to be here, you're not going to get here if you're doing all the same exact things you're doing when you're here, right? It's just not going to work. No matter what those things are, if you want to be in a different place than you're at now, but you don't do anything different, you're not going to get there, right? I think we can all agree, simple concept. So one of those things we're going to talk about today is mindset stuff. And it is having the mind of a student. So perfect timing this afternoon. I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about with you guys today. And a friend of mine sent me a meme. And the meme was, I wish I had it up in front of me, but it was something about like when trains came to America, they said that women couldn't ride them because their uteruses will fly out or something. And who knows like if that was real or it's just a meme or it's just stupid or whatever. The point is, it made me think, and his response was, that sounds like something stupid I would say to somebody and see if they would believe me, right? So, and the what this made me think of is how many of those things like are said and done every day that like we just accept, right? What if if that is real, right? Let's pretend that this meme of when trains first started, women couldn't ride them because their uteruses would fly out of their body. Okay, that's our premise. So we're gonna pretend that that's a real thing in history and time that happened. I have no idea if it is, but let's just go with it for the sake of our argument today. So that's a real thing. Now, if no one ever questioned that or was like, I mean, no other organs fly out of anybody's body. Maybe the uterus is safe, right? Like maybe we should just, maybe if one brave woman was just like, I'll ride the train, right? I will sacrifice my uterus, I'll ride the train. If no one ever did that, like we still wouldn't be able to ride trains, right? So like we have to question things. We have to wonder. We have to approach life with this mindset of a student. And that is how we learn things. That's how we have advancement. That's how everything happens, right? That's how all the magic happens, is if we have this mindset of a student. So if everything you're told and everything you do, you just accept, right? If we just accepted that women couldn't ride trains because their uteruses were going to come flying out of their bodies, where would we be? So... Michelle, it's a meme that I saw. I know, we hop on in the middle. You actually hopped on right at the beginning. It's just that ridiculous. So the whole premise for what started my idea today is someone sent me this meme where that was the meme. Not a real thing by any means that I can verify, but we're just pretending. So, I'm sorry guys, I have some notes here, so I remember to tell you all the things today. So we don't want to just accept it, right? But think about it. How many things happen in a day or that you go on in life about that we just accept, right? I went down a crazy rabbit hole on YouTube one time where I ended up watching this video about how there's a hole in, you know, the North Pole, and there's an inner Earth, and there's like people in there, and some explorer went there, and you know, it was one of those crazy things. And I'm not saying that it necessarily that it has any validity, but I've never been to the North Pole. I've never walked across the top of the earth. I don't know if there's a hole there. I've been told there isn't by a lot of people. Probably a safe assumption that there's not a hole in the top of the earth and people living inside, right? I think there's enough evidence that we can continue believing that. But the truth is, I have never been to the North Pole. I do not know, personally, myself, from my experience, that there is not a hole and a Middle Earth with people inside. Could be. Is there? Most likely not. I'm not a crazy person, right? But it's just that mindset, okay? And we can apply this to way less crazy things than a hole in the Middle Earth. But I'm trying to make this just so outlandish that we can just like have kind of a fun conversation about this stuff. Like the uterus flying out of your body. Michelle, I love you. So it's just this, and yoga has taught me a lot of this, right? This idea of like, could be. Not jumping into things full-fledged, like, yeah, there's totally Middle Earth, man. Like, I watched this YouTube video, that explorer guy was there. Like, you can go there. Like, they won't let you go to North Pole. You know, you can totally go crazy. And I'm not saying that anybody should do that. We should still have discernment. We should still look at facts and different sources and, you know, create, you know, educated opinions. If you watch enough, you know, flat earth stuff, there's a lot of evidence for their argument. There's also a lot to the other side, you know, but they've done a good job. But it's about being open to learning things and looking at things. Again, I've never stood in space and looked at planet Earth. Maybe it is flat. I'm a full believer that it's not, that it's round. I like that evidence and that science better. That's just my, you know, that's just where I stand. Have I, in fact, stood in space and looked out at the planet? Again, no. I can't tell you 100% that any of these things are real. But we just accept all of these truths, right? We accept them in life all the time. Rules of society, the way we behave, there's just certain things that we do, right? So, but having this mind of a student, what kind of difference is this? It takes the world from a place of boundaries and denial, where we're like, yes, no, we label everything, we've already created it and figured it all out, to a world of like infinite possibility, right? Wouldn't it be kind of cool if there was a Middle Earth and there was people in there? I don't know, I think that's kind of badass. Maybe it's better, maybe it's worse, who knows? Maybe they're coming and going all the time, we don't even know. Like, I don't know, I think that's kind of cool. Can I go visit sometime? Maybe it's better than what's going on up here right now. But you know, like, I'd rather live in this world of like infinite possibility where I can be curious, right? And have like that still childlike wonder about myself and the way that I approach the world. And I think it helps you be more creative, right? Because you're open to solutions and new things and different things. And I think it makes you more understanding and more thoughtful when we have this mentality and mindset of a student, when we approach the world this way. And let's see, am I missing anything I wanted to say to you guys? I think it makes us less afraid to make mistakes and less afraid to fail when we have the mindset of a student, because we have that understanding that like it's just part of learning, it's just part of life, right? And if we don't fail once in a while or make mistakes once in a while, you know, I'm really glad that a woman got on a train and realized her uterus wasn't going to fly out, so we can all ride trains now. You know, I mean, if we never failed at anything, if one woman did lose her uterus, but we found out that we could, in fact, not ride trains, you know, again, thank you. So that we just know once and for all that it's safe or not, you know? Like, if we don't try and we don't have that perspective, we never get anywhere. So I think now is a good time to have that reminder to question things and to have that mindset of a student. And that meme was just, I don't know, perfect today to spark this idea in this conversation. So I think I got everything. So yeah, so just take a moment, pause, like we talk about in our yoga classes, right? All the time we learn to pause in yoga and take a moment before we connect and react to things. So in that pause, in that moment, ponder, be open, consider, and not just for accepting, but also for denying, right? Like, maybe things that we've accepted as true are not. Maybe things that we've accepted as false are true. Just having that openness. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Hopefully, as always, my ramblings make sense. I'm still drinking my mud for the day, so I don't know, maybe we're not all firing, but hopefully we are. So that's it. Next week's Wellness Off the Mat will be live from New York, not Tennessee. Might even be live from my hairdressers, because that's legitimately my first stop when I get to New York. Just because that's the only day she could get me in, but it is coincidentally going to be my first stop when I return to New York is my hairdresser. Kind of funny because I'm not really that kind of girl, but yeah, so Wellness Off the Mat next week, back in New York for a short time before I hit up Marma therapy training, which I'm really excited about. That's all I've got for you guys. So there we go. There's that mindset of the student, right? I'm always learning, I'm always working on something new, and you know, just trying to eat it all up. Like, it's not possible to learn in my lifetime all the things I want to learn. That makes me so sad. But I'm damn sure gonna try. So drop me a comment, you guys, and tell me what you're learning lately. What's the last thing you learned? What's something you want to learn? Is it something I can talk about? Even better, we'll learn it together. I'd love to hear about it. Maybe you'll give me some ideas for something I want to learn. I just want to travel and go places and meet people and talk to them and hear people's stories and learn things. How can I make money and do that, you guys? I'm going to start a tip cup on Instagram. Mwah. I love you all. See you next Wednesday. Be safe. Bye, guys.